Okay, so what is this energy that I've been sensing? Please make it clear. What is it about? I'm using the Oracle of Shadow and Light because this energy has been feeling heavy, and often things that can feel heavy is just misunderstood. The three fates, what goes around, what comes around goes around. 26. The number 26, 2 is duality and relationships, and then 6 is harmony, balance, love, compassion, and then an 8 is infinity, abundance, and what goes around comes around. Right, so the three fates have a scissor there and they're cutting the string. And I think this is about what has happened once might happen again, and if it's happened 2 times, it might happen a 3rd time. And then it's like the universe intervenes, the fates intervene, because either the lesson has been learned and the karma has been corrected, or it's not after 3 attempts, and now the universe intervenes to end it. Let's see. Got a weird camera angle because I just pulled up the camera and started recording. It's happening again. Many of us have faced difficulty and troubled times in our lives. Sometimes the impact of a negative experience is so profound that it leaves us with physical, mental, and yes, spiritual residue for months, even years after the actual event. While you're still vibrating, as the three fates put it, to the energy of negative experience, you tend to repeatedly attract echoes of that experience. Okay, so something might be happening again. Well, I feel like at this point, it's just the energy of something that has happened before, that was difficult or traumatic. And now that energy that has been below the surface, the emotions, whatever negative energy attached to that experience is coming up to the surface. So either there's an actual experience that is repeating itself, that is similar, like say you had a you sort of have a dynamic that's playing out with your parent or parents, a negative dynamic where you do something, they do something, and it's a bad experience. I don't have a specific example. And then things are smoothed over or let go, or time just goes on, and then you have that same fight triggered by another event, but it's the same underlying thing. If there's not an actual experience that's happening, something that's happening, it's just feeling that sense of dread. Like if you were chronically sick, say you broke a leg, or you had a really bad illness, say you had pneumonia and you landed up in hospital, or even a near-death experience, and sort of what you felt, the experience you had wasn't processed fully, and so you've had bad health since, or you're fearful of getting sick again, or it can be a relationship, and you keep attracting the same type of person, or you have a dynamic with someone that you are in a relationship or were in a relationship with that keeps replaying, so they keep cheating, or you have a childhood issue of being guarded, and so something keeps happening in your relationship to bring your guardedness to the surface. So it's something like that. So when you need to be alerted to the fact the three fates will enter, showing you that this is a karmic pattern that may need to be worked on, understood, and recreated in order to free you of its influence. You may feel that there are others in charge of your fate, that they are threading the needle, weaving the patterns of the tapestry of your life, even choosing what ends and what begins. When you feel that fate has interceded and that you are not so much in control of your life but in control of your reaction to what happens in your life, then you are beginning to work with intelligence, maturity, and understanding. I think what's important to remember is guilt and shame, or any negative emotion like that, has a purpose, but it shouldn't negatively affect us. So we can't hang on to guilt and shame. So for instance, if say you realize you've been doing inner work and self-love, whatever, on a self-love journey, and you realize that you became ill because you ignored the health signs that your body was giving you. Say you decided not to take time off work when you could feel yourself feeling run down and then getting the flu or feeling sick, and you didn't seek help because you thought it would go away, which is not bad things. It's just now you've learned that you should pay attention to your health and love yourself enough to seek medical attention or take care of your body in the way that it needs to before it gets to something bad. Maybe that you getting sick in that way was to alert you to the fact that you've been working a really strenuous or a really stressful job for so long, or you are in an unhappy place in your life in terms of work and it's time for a change. You can feel guilt and shame for having that have happened to you and you not have done anything about it, but we have to try and see it as, even if it's a difficult experience and even if we did do something wrong, we can learn from it and then make positive change. And often if it repeats itself, we can feel a lot of guilt and shame and embarrassment or whatever, because why is it happening again? Why does this keep happening to me? I'm a good person, I'm trying to do things right. So when spiritual teachers and philosophers and people tell you that there's lessons to be learned, it's not meant to be taken in the way that you are doing something wrong. Rather see yourself as you would a child who, if they fell off a bike the first time they try to ride it, that doesn't make them bad at riding a bike. It means they're learning how to do it. And if they scrape their knee, you can't shame them for it. You encourage them, you soothe the scrape, and you help them get back on the bike. So you kind of have to see yourself in that same way. Because even if the situation isn't resolved completely the first time, you might have made some changes, some positive changes, and there was more needed. And sometimes some things that we experience is so challenging, so painful, so stressful that it's difficult to work through it all at once. So we work through a certain chunk of it, and then something comes up and triggers us at another time, or a similar experience comes around, so we can work on whatever other emotions that we have inside of us that we haven't processed and dealt with. With the energies of destiny, fate, and fortune, the three fates depicted so beautifully here with the ever-turning wheel of karma. This is an 8 year. And I feel like if you've actually done a lot of inner work and processing and healing, that with this card, what comes around goes around. Like if you've had a lot of bad luck and a lot of challenging things, it has to come back around, and the good things need to come back around. So I feel like this year or this period, or whenever you find this, whatever's been repeating in your life, whatever karmic cycles is ending now, and you're going to get positive karma back. And the opposite is also true. Sometimes we do things and we don't understand what that means. And I feel like this could just be collective energy as well, because there's a lot of exposure of a lot of really painful, difficult things in the world. And it's almost like all these energies, let's say, people, institutions that have been on a pedestal for so long and lived such amazing lives, and this is no hate or shade, although some of it, there's a lot of shade there that is not projection. Like if you've been doing bad things behind the scenes and living a good life, and everything's just been going good regardless of the bad and the negative energy you've been putting out, it's going to come back now. But I feel like for whoever's watching this, you might either be picking up on other negative energies, projections, and what is for you is that the good karma needs to come back in now. You may have been enjoying your own life's reruns lately, wallowing through the memories and feeling sad, bittersweet, nostalgic about the good old days whenever they were exactly. It is fine to muse on the past. Your memories are precious and do need to be tended, but it's another thing altogether to be filled with regret, wishing you'd done things differently. Life is a constant do-over. You get a fresh chance every second you are alive. And I was actually thinking about that this morning. Like the thought just popped into my head. Like every day is a chance to live the life that you want to live. A new life. Every day is literally a chance to live a new life. And we get to choose if we continue on a path or change directions or make it better. And sometimes it's in little ways, and sometimes it's in ways that can't be seen. But every day is a day that we can, every day is an opportunity. And even if you're so low that you can't find that motivation, that optimism, just that statement, repeating it every day is an opportunity. It sort of takes you even just slightly away from everything that has happened already, and how it's been the same, and how it's been difficult, and how it's been painful. Stop beating yourself up. You have an opportunity to heal, to clear, to no longer feel sad about the same thing anymore. You can do things differently. You are not a prisoner of how they have always been done. What you have done, even if you judge it to be a mistake, can be reworked and learned from. That is the wisdom. You are not so alone. We all have karmic lessons, themes, stories that seem to repeat. Learn from this. And I feel like if we've done something that we feel shameful about, and it might not even be like a really toxic, really dark, bad thing, like you could have failed your driver's license twice already. So now the confidence has been knocked right out of you, and you don't feel like you can go and do it anymore. And every time somebody says, "Hey, have you gotten your license?" you feel bad about it again. And you can either let that disappointment and that knock to your confidence and your self-esteem keep you from taking the test the third time, or you can work through those emotions and don't take the test. Even if there are people like, you really failed it a second time, whatever that person's agenda is, there's probably many other people out there in the world that have failed it a second time, and sometimes it's really not your fault. But we never know what the hidden reasons are behind things. Like maybe there's a bigger purpose to you failing it a second time, because when you go the third time, you happen to run into someone that you is going to be significant in your life going forward when you go and do the third test. Or failing that test stops you from getting behind the wheel on a specific day. Or you were going to take your new car with your new license and drive across the country on a vacation with your friends, and so you end up not going, and that was meant to happen. There are reasons for things that we can't always see. Beware of what is taking place at a fateful encounter to master life. Beware of what is taking place as a fateful encounter to master life. If you take this approach, you'll be the richer for learning, wise, free, and able to help others too. Like I spent a whole 15 minutes talking about this one card that I pulled. So I'm not going to, I was going to use tarot. This card has been popping up for months, a lot, again and again. Fairy of the divine hand, intoxication, distorted via overindulgence. Don't overindulge in just stewing in your sadness or your grief or your pain. However small, find something that lights you up, even if it's watching something funny on TV, or wearing something that you really love to wear that makes you feel good, or listening to some music, cuddling with a loved one. Don't take all the sweetness out of life because you feel like you deserve to be punished subconsciously. Let yourself enjoy the good things that are there, and sometimes we can't even see that those things are good and appreciate them and enjoy them when they are there, when we are in a really difficult place emotionally or mentally. You can sort of punish yourself without even knowing it, like you are having you're failing at school, and so now you are upset with everybody at home, type of thing. Whereas the people at home might be able to just give you the moral support that you need, or not distract, but give you some laughter and fun, and then you feel a little better, and you go back and then you do the work and you study and then you pass. You might feel guilty about being successful now, or achieving certain things, and have some imposter syndrome or guilt from previous things that you've done, but you've healed through them and you've grown through them and you've changed and you've made amends, or you've tried, and there are now blessings coming in, but you block it because there's some part of you that feels guilt and shame. I don't know why guilt and shame is coming through today. I wasn't sure what the energy was that I was feeling, but clearly that is it. It can be that you meet someone that's really amazing, but because of what happened in your previous relationship, you're like, you don't want to get involved because maybe a lot of bad things happened with your previous person that you were with, and now you are afraid of doing it again. But fear can be our greatest teacher, how to discern, but it can also obscure our vision so badly. So maybe then you need to take the time to walk through the fear, and openly communicate with the new person and say, hey, I like you, but these are the fears that I have. Or communicate that you would like to take things slow so that you can process some of your own things that you're dealing with in your life. Fear can make us feel isolated. There's another card at the bottom, collisions of belief styles, attitudes and energies. And I feel like a lot of guilt and shame can come, say, if how you dress is not as conservative as everyone else around you. So now you feel guilt and shame being around a certain group of people, or your family, or at work, or wherever, because of the way you dress. But not being true to yourself is going to make you feel worse. Or you don't have the same religion or religious beliefs as the people that your family, and they are very vocal about it, and that makes you feel bad. Or you can use discernment. Like if you have say you have some friends that your family doesn't want you to hang out with, or your partner doesn't like your best friend, you can use your discernment to, is my partner right, and that this friend is really not good for me? Or does my partner have some of their own inner issues, insecurities or fears, and that's why they or attachments, and that's why they don't like my friend? And this is where what goes around comes in, because if it's happened before and you didn't see it, the next time you were like, I see something there but I'm not sure, and then if it happens again, it becomes clearer, and you probably get to a point where you just see it and you understand it and and then you can't let fear or guilt or shame keep you there. Then you have to be like, okay, I'm going to have to say something here, or I'm going to have to stop this, or I'm going to have to fix this. And often if you've tried to fix it 2 times before, 3 times before, it likely needs to end. And we can always call on God, our angels, our guides, to help us to be able to say the right thing at the right time, in the right way, to take the right actions, to know what that is. And spending time journaling and reflecting, and just really understanding how you feel, how things make you feel, understanding how your past experiences might influence or obscure a current event or experience. We can figure it out. We can definitely figure it out. It's sort of finding your way through the dark. Trusting that inner knowing and finding your inner knowing, so that you're not always pulled around by what everyone else says or does. You find that inner light and know what's right for you, what isn't right for you in any given moment, because even when situations look very similar, it doesn't always require the same response or reaction. And that is the reading. That was so weird and abrupt, especially the beginning, because I was just feeling this energy and I wasn't sure what it was, and it was bugging me. And I sat with it for a while to try and figure it out. But usually writing and speaking about something helps to make it clearer. So clear your energy. Once you've processed something and you are able to let it go, do something to clear your energy. And I feel like a lot of what we are feeling, these negative energies, are not our own entirely. And sometimes not at all. You might be picking up on collective stuff or someone you're connected to, how they feel about you. And so you feel guilt and shame because they're angry at you when what happened might not have been solely your fault or your fault at all. If we don't know how to regulate and process our feelings, we will always project it. And that's not to say that sometimes it's not important to call out how other people treat us and to stand up for yourself. But you don't have to hold negative intention and energy towards another. If someone has wronged you and you've done something about it, said something, you've walked away, you've ended it, you've changed, you've tried to reconcile, whatever, you've done the best that you can do in the best way that you can, then why would you continuously want to hate someone forever and ever? Because that just points to something inside of you that you need to release and clear and process, even when you were wronged. That means maybe you need to release the sadness around a loss or how that thing made you feel. And that takes a little bit of digging inside, and a lot of self-love and a lot of nurturing and a lot of understanding and compassion, when we often want to be, let's toughen up and let's just forget it and let's just get over it, but don't stay there. That is the reading. I hope that was helpful for someone, and I hope to see you again in another video.